Nintendo has released a new Mario game, Super Mario Wonder, and it's yet another great game. But one piece of news caught my attention. Apparently, during its initial prototyping phase, the team at Nintendo did not have any kind of deadline for delivering the game or the mechanics, so they were basically free to explore new ideas and mechanics as much as needed. And apparently, that resulted in some great ideas that made the final game that much better and interesting. But that is not the reality for most professional teams making games out there. There's always deadlines, pressure, and money on the line. And then I get to wonder, how much is that actually a good or viable thing for game teams? That's the topic for today's video. Hey guys, it's Harry. I've been a game designer and producer for the past 10 years, and in this channel I want to talk all about game production. If you haven't subscribed already, hit the subscribe button and also like the video. That helps immensely for us to grow the channel. YouTube is crowded like never before, so every piece of engagement helps. Alright, Mario! I'm very excited to talk about a Mario game. I'm 33 years old, so needless to say that Mario was a big part of my life growing up. And it's great to see that it's still so relevant today, 40 years after the first release. The first Mario Bros. Game was released in 1983 as an arcade game, and later on released on the Nintendo NES system. That was way back in the day. The game before Mario Wonder was Super Mario Odyssey, which was also a very good and successful game. That says a lot about Nintendo's commitment with their biggest franchise, right? After all, when you think about Nintendo, you think about Mario. They even shared the same color palette. So what about this? During Wonder's development, the team had no deadline and they were free to explore the game as they saw fit. We cannot be 100% sure how things turned out internally, but we will consider that was indeed the case. So first thing I want to say is that they did have deadlines. Maybe it wasn't communicated to the team so as not to put pressure on them, but managers and leadership always have deadlines in mind. But the decision to not put pressure on the team with deadlines and let them explore the game extensively doesn't come for free. After all, Nintendo is a multi-billion-dollar company and they can afford longer productions. I mean, they were not creating an Elder Scrolls or GTA game. A Mario game won't take as long as those games to be made. But it's not only that. The Mario franchise is probably the most important thing for Nintendo. Releasing a crappy Mario game will hurt Nintendo's reputation like nothing else. And that would be completely unacceptable. That's why they put in so much effort in it. Nintendo going wrong with Mario is like Disney losing the rights to Mickey. It's simply not gonna happen. So the bottom line is that Nintendo is able to do that, and gladly it turned out well for Super Mario Wonder. It's a great game. However, this unconstrained approach to development can also have some downsides depending on the team. In design thinking, we learned that without constraints, great ideas usually will take longer to flourish, because working with constraints, both resources and time, is what helps us focus on the issues that matter the most. So having infinite time and a blank slate for ideas will not necessarily generate the best products and results. Plus, as we said, Nintendo is so rich that they can have the luxury of taking as long as needed for a project, like spending millions of dollars just to conclude that the game is not worth and scrap it. But if most teams do that, especially indie teams, they will go out of business. So at first glance, this idea of unlimited time sounds like a great thing that everyone should pursue. And yeah, it worked for Super Mario Wonder. We have yet another great Mario game to enjoy with our friends and family. However, we need to keep in mind one of the harshest truths in the games industry. You and I will never play many incredible games. We have never played them, we will never play them. And you know why? Because they'll never reach the market. They'll never see the light of day. An absurd amount of projects get cancelled midway through production simply because teams ran out of money. They are passionate, talented people dedicated to creating the best experiences, but they have this platonic idea of taking as long as needed for their productions, no matter how many years it takes for them to complete their games. And because of that, they never do. I believe there's a tendency in people to be in one specific side of the spectrum. Either you are a creative artist releasing nothing short of the best artwork ever made, and you do that out of the passion of your heart as an expression of your true self, or you're a cash grab that only wants to take advantage of people and don't care about games. And believe me, I've seen both all the time. The games industry has grown so damn much to more than $300 million per year that it has attracted a lot of eyes of executives and business people that couldn't care less about games and players. You know what I'm talking about. And it's bad. It hurts me to see so many people that don't care about games and they are in this industry, in my industry. I care about games. Games matter. To me, games are the most incredible way to interact with characters and people, to build your own stories and victories. Games can be full of touching narrative and addictive gameplay. They can help you connect with the world and other people in a whole different way. But nowadays, everything's about spreadsheets and microtransactions, and that sucks. But in my opinion, that's why it's even more important that the teams that actually care about games and players, they can release their games, they can become successful. Otherwise, these teams will simply go out of business eventually, and all those cash grabs will continue to be the dominant force in our industry. That is why when I heard about Nintendo and the unlimited timeline, I was kind of skeptical that this is something that we should all be pursuing in the games industry. I'm a designer, and as a designer, I do believe that good constraints can go a long way in helping teams produce better games. Of course, that is not an excuse to release crappy games. If you're doing that, you're missing the whole point. But in my opinion, it's worth finding the balance. It's about knowing what to do as much as what not to do, knowing that you cannot explore every possible path to create your game, and that can be a good thing. Games kept going up in scale and cost, and we as players got some bad habits in expecting that all the time. A 20-hour game is seen as short, and if we don't have those bigger and bigger maps to explore, we get frustrated because the game is not up to the hype. How many marketing campaigns brag about those incredibly huge worlds like never seen before? Infinite gameplay in a linear story-driven game. Like that's why Red Dead Redemption has an online multiplayer mode. I believe that this mindset hurts the quality of the games much more than deadlines do. Once again, if those deadlines harm the game at the end, then they were missing out on the point and the production was not effective. A good production should focus both on delivering a great quality game to players, but also on business sustainability so that the team can continue creating those games more and better. Better, not bigger. So those were my thoughts and experience, but let me know what you think in the comments below. Also, if you want me to address another game or another topic in a future video, leave in the comments.